Evening, everyone, and thanks for joining this conference call. We are glad to welcome you all to discuss Bandhan Bank's business and financial performance for the quarter ending March 2020. Along with that, we'll also take the opportunity to update on the recent development in industry as well as Bandhan Bank. To discuss all these in detail, I've got with me our founder, managing director, and CEO, Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh, our executive director designate, Mr. Sudhin Choksi, our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Sunil Samdani, and myself, Hiren Shah, Head of Investor Relations. Now, I would like to request our founder, MD and CEO, Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh, to brief you all about the financial performance of company and development during the quarter. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Hiren. So, welcome to all of you. This is the Bandhan have that the fifth financial year result, and this is the 5 years we are running the bank, so that it is a very closing of the year is a very very challenging period, and all of you know that the last 10 days of the March we have not doing any business on that. The disbursement collection not happened. After that also, the within this situation, bank performance having the strong growth has come. The profit growth has come year on year 54.96%, which is the profit have been done in the bank 3,024 crores. If this time also this quarter we are additionally provisioned 690 crores on the basis of standard asset against the potential impact on COVID-19, and so that the otherwise the profit will be 3,408 crores. So now we say that after taking this provision, the profit has come 3,024 crores, which is year on year basis 54.96%. And last quarter profit has come 517 crores, but if we not consider that the 690 crores is a provision extra, so our profit in this quarter will be the 902 crores. So coming to this, the advance we have been seeing that our growth has come 60.46%, and the portfolio is at 71,846 crore. Compared to the last financial year, it has come 6 growth. If it has come to the deposit, it is a very strong deposit base of the bank, and we are seeing that the deposit growth has come total amount of 57,082 crores, and the micro banking deposit is at 6% yearly. And very strong is our retail deposit 78.4%, and our retail deposit has been grown. Eastern region 32%, but non-east 51% growth has come of the deposit. And the gross NPA 1.48%, and as on March 31st, 2020, and net NPA 0.58%. If you see the gross NPA from the last quarter it was in a 1.93, has come down 1.48, and net NPA from 0.81 in the last quarter, it has come 0.5. ROA
excuse me, sir, we are able to hear you. Sir, we just lost your audio for a minute. Could you please repeat yourself?
Hello?
Yes, sir, this is the operator. We just lost your audio for a few seconds. Could you please repeat yourself?
Hiren, can you pass on what you would like to say?
Sir, for last 10 seconds we could not hear you, so if you can please repeat.
Okay. I said that the deposits growth has come 32.04%, which is amount-wise 57,082 crores is a deposit. And out of this deposit, very strong in the bank, the retail deposit is 78.4%. Eastern region deposit growth has come 32%, but the non-East zone deposit has come as a 51%. And the deposit is a very strong, whatever the balance today, it is higher than the March balance. And coming to the gross NPA, 1.48%, which in the last quarter 1.93%, it has been reduced. And the net NPA has come 0.58% from the last quarter, 0.81%. It is also reduced. ROA 3.64%. If we not counting 690 crores additional provision, it will be near to the last time, it is 4.11%. ROE 21.07%. And the bank has a very strong capital adequacy ratio, 28.04%. And out of that, which are Tier 1, out of that is 25.78%. Cost to income ratio has come as a down from the last year. It was in a 32.58%. Now it is in 30.82%. Even it is down from the last quarter also. And net interest income we are done into 6,324 crores, and in net interest income that is also has come 1,549 crores for the year. And the fee income out of total income 12.46%, which was in the last year 11.54%. Our NIM retained the same from the last time. It is if we compare with the last quarter it was in a 7.91%. Now it has come NIM has 8.12%. 36.84%. And our banking outlet 4,559 banking outlet, 485 ATMs, and the customers are 20.10 million, and employee 39,750. So these are the total figures, whatever I say that we achieved on that. I give the thank you to all of you, and the thank you my team and the board for all of their help to help us to perform on this much of the business. We are trying to do in the future that is the more diversified of the loan book and more secure book. We like to continue like as in affordable housing, and geographically expansion also we like to continue across the country. So thank you to all of you. You have the question, I'd like to take that opportunities. Please.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We take the first question from the line of Prashant Podar from ABI. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. A lot of details in the presentation. Thank you for that too. Sir, if you can help us understand what's happening separately in green, orange or red zones in terms of business activity as to what's happening, what's not happening, how are customers responding. If you could also help us understand percentage of your customers who are actually seeing a sizable impact on their business. We see resilient, low impact and marginal impact, but these are subjective, these are views. In reality, what percentage of customers are able to do business and collect some revenues, and what percentage of customers are really impacted enough to kind of not be able to pay for some time? And is there a certain percentage of customers you can tell us which will not be able to be back in business and could be a permanent loss for you? And based on this, any assessment of credit cost range for the full year?
Okay, thank you for this question. It's a very tough time of this year, and whatever we are not in a predict on the basis of history anything, but 1-2 points which I learned from my field when we are contact with the customer. 95% to 97% customers we have been conducted in the regular basis. And a couple of customers I talked, and my senior team member also talked on that. What is their views in the overall perspective in that they are not able to come out from their home. That means the lockdown. They say that until the lockdown is not open, and you are not able to come, and we also not maybe come to your office. So that is a big challenge for all of us on that. But their feedback on that, when the lockdown will be open, there is another 4 to 6 weeks needed to normalize, and they say that it will be repay and the normalizing it. You keep it, if you can give the 4 to 6 weeks time to us. I feel that maybe another 4 weeks can be added. But this will depend on that when lockdown open and people will start. Second point I find out on that my 50% of the customer are involved of this, the agri and allied, which is agriculture crop has come very good. Their income is coming good, but they are also ready to come to the office to repay on that. So that is on one side you see that, and they depend on lockdown. And food processing, we have another 20%. 70% of the customer have to have the essential goods business. So that these the people, their business, many of them are businesses running, and they are not lost their money. So that this is one advantage I feel that they are like to, when it will be immediately start, and they are starting to the repayment on that. So these are the overall. But these people, another thing I have been find out on that, these people are very high risk takers, because when they are seen, they have been seen some of the business is a little bit disturbed, they will change the business other way. If I see that who are the Toto, people are not moved to one area to another area, Toto income has been closed, but they are use this Toto as a vegetable sales to the door-to-door. So I say that these people are very keen about it, and that utilize their money and not lost their money. The previous experience I also seen that. So I hope that after the lockdown open, they will return back to their business and coming forward to repay the installment.
So, Mr. Ghosh, just kind of, it's a bit of a macro question, but I mean, there are questions being raised about the whole business model, wherein the lowest denominator will see the highest impact in this kind of economic environment, and we haven't seen a lot of support yet coming from the government. In absence of that, is there a likelihood of very high impact on asset quality in the medium term?
If you see that the asset quality, that means our asset quality depend on that my customer asset quality. So if we see that the asset quality of the customer lost, if it is a natural calamity has come, flood, we've seen that funny, in a different way we have been seeing that. So that time they lost their asset, they lost their money, they lost their house, And that time also, if you one of the incident in Fani in Odisha, we saw that. And that time we have been lost to the 1% of the business book on the portfolio. So though it is in rest of industry have been lost in the 6.5% as per credit bureau data. So I said that this time they have been not lost their shop, not lost their house, not lost their business. They are only see that they are not getting the business. So that is the challenge on this time. This time is a better earlier, whatever that we say that the macro and other things on that. And these people will be get the very quick revive once type of essential goals. So people, when it will be like to open the lockdown, immediately people started to movement. So their toto, their auto, and their shop, everything will be very picked up quick on that. So that is then one hope we find out in this segment of that.
Okay. So one last question, sorry, which is about, we are hearing from a bank also which operates in microfinance that there has been instances and measurable instances of politicians interfering in the whole cycle. I mean, wherein they are asking customers that they don't need to pay, etc. Would you see that as any risk in any parts of the regions that you operate in?
No, this is a good time now. All the people who are in the administration, government, and the political opposition, everyone try to help to the public.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Karthik Chellappa from Buena Vista Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, sir. My first question is, could you please share the thought process behind arriving at the 690 crore of standard provisioning? Is it a blanket provisioning which you have made on your loans, or have you identified a certain stock of loans which you feel risky and taken a higher provision on that?
So Karthik, the situation that we are in is very unique, right? But we still have to do an assessment of risk. So we have done our assessment of risk based on 2-3 factors. One is the industry in which these customers are, how that industry, the businesses in which these customers are doing, how that industry is faring. So that's one way we looked at, accordingly we estimated the loss rates into those industries. The other way we looked at is our prior experience of handling challenges, because that's how, because you can't get a similar comparison, but broadly you can find a comparison where the business ability of the customer gets impacted due to natural calamities. So we've looked at last 5 large challenges that we have faced in the industry, namely GST, demonetization, UP farm loan waiver, Fani cyclone in Orissa, and the Assam crisis that we had, right? So if you break these 5 events, challenges, broadly 3 of them are something where the ability issue or the business had got impacted, whether it's cyclone Fani or it is GST or demonetization. So what we have seen, consistently, there are 2 messages here. One is that we have consistently performed better than industry, across all kinds of challenges, across all geographies, not only in our core areas. Even so, there what we have seen, whenever the challenges have the ability issue where the business gets impacted, the losses are relatively less because these customers have the ability to come back faster to normalcy. There we've seen the loss rates have been in the range of 0.5 to 1.5% incremental. But when the issue comes to the willingness issue or the credit culture issue, where we look at the UP farm loan waiver or the Assam crisis, where the businesses were running normal, but the customers were instigated not to pay. there we've seen a relatively higher loss rates of about 3 to 4%. We believe this issue is the ability issue, a natural calamity, right? It's a medical pandemic. So once the lockdown is lifted and the situation improves, these customers will bounce back quickly. And accordingly, we have, conservatively taken a provision looking at both micro banking, affordable housing, and MSME portfolio.
So this 6.9, is this like a portfolio that, a provision that you have taken just for this quarter, so next quarter you will again assess, or do you think this is reasonably sufficient until the time the lockdown is actually lifted?
See, we have taken 6.9 billion this quarter. In addition to that, we have 3.1 billion already as an additional standard asset provision that we carry in our books. So both put together is about 10 billion. And the way we assess the risk today, assuming that the economy and the country starts opening up in next 15 to 20 days, we believe this situation or this provision that we are carrying, based on our assessment, of course, we'll have to keep evaluating as the days goes by. But currently, it looks like this is the provision.
Got it. Because another way I thought about this is in your disclosure of the marginal impact of loans worth about 2,700 odd crore, the general provision that you've taken of 690 crore effectively works out to a 25% provision. So is that one way also that you can look at it? That you have identified the most vulnerable segments, or that you have taken a quarter of them as basically a standard provision for the time being?
See, it's a combination of all. We can't just say that this is the most vulnerable section and hence 25. Because these businesses in rural area won't get impacted so much. Right? Because there we've not seen the COVID impact so much. And if you look at our distribution, about 81% of distribution is in the area which has contributed only 5% of the COVID cases for the country. So it's a mix of both, where the businesses are of our customers and the industry in which they are operating in.
Got it. So one more question on the non-micro part. So if I just look at the moratorium availed across mortgages SME, the highest is supposedly in the NBFC MFI segment, which is about 59%. How should we read this? Because there is also a commentary which is saying that you have enough deposits in your account which equals to the first quarter installments. So if I club this together, how would you assess the risk of this portfolio?
See, for NBFC MFI, it is very natural to ask for moratorium because they have in turn given moratorium to their customers. Because the microfinance required doorstep collection. So this was very natural for them to offer. So what we have seen in the cases where we have given loan to NBFC MFI, their liquidity position currently is fairly stable, but they want to preserve cash till the time they start the collection. Right, so that's why if you see their deposits with us are almost 4 to 5 months of installments that they need to pay to us, but they still have asked for moratorium. So they have cash, they want to preserve cash because they have in turn given loans to moratorium to their customers. So that's how we should read it.
Got it. And just one clarification issue, sir. In the marginal impact sector, there is one sector which is basically called other transportation, which is basically the third largest component of the micro loans. What exactly would those sectors pertain to?
So this would largely pertain to auto rickshaw and the taxis.
Okay, auto rickshaw. And this mix would by and large be similar to your micro loan mix? I mean, like 60% would still be West Bengal, Assam, 40% would be these two states?
Absolutely.
Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I'll come back with you for more questions if any. Wish you and the team a very good health and all the very best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Deepak Gupta from Reliance Nippon Life. Please go ahead.
Hi. Good evening, sir. If you could just give us some details in terms of your total AUM, how much of it will be arising from the areas where lockdown has been lifted, basically from green and orange zone, and how much would it be from the red zone?
So in our world, 78% of our business are in the green zone, 16% in the orange zone, and 5.5% in the red zone.
Understand. And sir, if you could give us details of your power at less than 30 days. How is that number looking like presently?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Please, Sunil.
Yeah. So, about between all the three verticals, micro, housing and SME, about 3% of our book is 0 plus.
Okay. And 30 plus, would be how much?
And 30 plus, just a sec. 30 plus is 2.2%.
Okay, got it. And just one last question on the balance sheet. Your loan deposit ratio has been clocking it quite healthily at about 120 to 130%. Any thought process in terms of at what levels will this sustain at?
See, if you look at our CD ratio or the loan to deposit ratio, this has gone up largely because of the merger. Right. Otherwise, before merger, our entire liability book was deposits. We didn't have any borrowing.
Right.
And particularly this quarter is higher because of the excess liquidity that we are maintaining.
Right.
Right. So we have taken refinance and we have kept it in the liquidity.
Understand. So, do you foresee this CD ratio coming down in the next few quarters?
Yes. If you look at the normal business as usual, if I have to not carry this excess liquidity, this loan to deposit ratio would have been in the range of 105 to 107%.
Okay.
Currently.
Got it. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Bhavik Dave from Nippon Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, sir. I hope you're doing well. Just wanted to understand, sir, on the business front, specifically post the things normalize and the lockdown opens up. Wanted to understand how do we intend to run the microfinance business? Like, will there be any changes that we are looking at in the way we will do the business? Or will it come back to normalcy within a short period of time whenever things normalize in the geography? Because it's a very high touch and feel business. How does the business change from a longer term perspective?
So what we saw that our 81% our microcredit advance from East and Northeast, where this region are 5% effect of the COVID-19 cases.
Okay.
And 62% of our banking unit, which is microcredit office, concentrated in East and Northeast, it is in our 5% only the COVID cases on that. In that sense, the large number of our microcredit portfolio and it is in part where is in very small amount of COVID effect. Only point is there that is in some area are green, yellow, and red. On that basis, this is on one side. Next point, we find out that 95 to 97% customer we are conducted during the time of lockdown. We are continuously conducted on that. And we find out from the feedback from the customer business point of view. So they are say that they have after opening the lockdown, they are asking after the 4 to 6 weeks for their side they will be normalized the installment.
Yeah.
And I have been little bit agree with it, and I feel that maybe another 4 weeks I can be had. So because of these people, the basic goods seller and depend on local supply chain. Agri and agri allied 50%, food and food processing 20%. For that reason, I feel that they are needing this type of customer need a commitment. When they commit, they must return back on that. So for that reason, this business is also even good book wise and the essential goods. And they are saying that it will be take another 4 to 6 weeks to normalize. I also feel that maybe another 4 weeks more. So this is then my position on this.
Yeah. And sir, just on the green and red zone that we spoke about, there was a report by the Ministry of Health where 3-4 districts that we have a reasonable presence, the 24th North Parganas, 24th South Parganas, Midnapur, all these districts are classified under the red zone. And here we have reasonable amount of business. So what is happening or what is the update on these 3-4 districts?
If you see that the Bengal specific you are asking,
Yes, sir, Bengal specific. So the 4 districts which we have reasonable presence are marked as red zone.
Okay. So again, if you go to that and that is in red and yellow zone, you can again divide in the containment area.
Okay.
So if you say that the Kolkata containment area is very strong, very number is more.
Right.
If you go to this, the Hooghly is not that much, but they are restricted some of the pocket as a containment area, and people can move within that district in other areas. Same as the North 24, South 24. In that sense, I say that very concentrated of the containment area in Kolkata, and which is not that much of the business. No. So other districts are surrounding. All our 4 districts is surrounding of Calcutta.
Okay.
And the pocket is very much a small number.
Sure. And the last question is on the disbursement front, as and when the lockdown opens, and we rightly said that it will take 4 to 6 weeks to come back to normalcy, will we support them by disbursing top-up loans to the existing customers for them to normalize their business activity?
If you see that I am coming to the other point on that. If you can understand, till now it is in different. What happened is that the March, the last 10 days we have not collected, not disbursed. All that suddenly happened, but that is in waiting. So now we have been last 15 days. We have been started the office very closely observed their business. Accordingly, we little bit started the disbursement of that. So this is on one side. Other side on that, we are till now is not sure about it, that the people will be, this 2-3 months people have been finished their all of the capital. No, these people are very much conservative and very good way they are handling their cash. For that reason, I am not feeling that they are, because you see that we have about 640 people survey in the before just the COVID across the 6 states, including the Bengal, Bihar, Delhi, like on that, and find out on that their average monthly income 40,500 rupees per month. So this type of customer, if you see that my 52% of the customer more than 4 and above cycle, and this is people is a multiple business. 2.3 times of they have diversified the business. So this the people within 2 months, 3 months they have been lost every their capital is not like that. So that is another one. But if they ask on that, yes, they have some liquidities there, because the business opportunities also will come more. Because at that time everything is a business point of view on the dry. People are everything have been finished as a consumer of their goods in the the home, or very conservatively they are purchasing the goods. If that time they have need to further liquidity support for grow their business more, we will be like to check their liquidity, their capacity. Accordingly, we can be provide on that.
Right. All right, sir. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, sir. I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. So next.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Sameer BC from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. Just one quickly wanted the breakup of CA and SA deposits.
If you see that the CA and SA, my SA is a 31.06%, CA is a 5.78%. Out of total CASA is in 36.84%.
And how would deposits have behaved post March in your view? If you could provide some details on that.
So, Sameer, if you see our presentation, we have given the position till 30th April as well, and so how our deposits have been steadily growing. So from March to April, our deposits have grown at 2% plus, and in May, as we speak, it has further grown by another 1.5 to 2%.
And I just wanted to understand from an approach perspective, when we see that almost 78% of the loan portfolio is under green zone. As of today, or rather say if lockdown is lifted, say after say May 17th, you can immediately start collections, right?
No, we are not saying that 28% of our portfolio is in green zone. What we are saying is these businesses that our customers are in,
okay. Yeah.
78 to 80% close to of these customers are in the businesses which are not impacted by lockdown. In terms of red, green, amber bifurcation, as Mr. Ghosh explained, close to 76% of our portfolio is between green and amber.
And they are, your operations are geared to start collection.
James, your point I have been talking on that. This is a customer feedback I got from the telephonic conversation. So they are ready to come today also, but because of the lockdown, they cannot move. They are not getting any transport, and our people also cannot go to the field. When the people start to go to the field, and community people will not easily accept it on that. Why outside people has come to the village? So that will be the challenge on this part, not the customer point of view. So some customer is coming to the office and given very small amount. It is not in that way count. But you see that after lockdown open, there is a need of some time to go to the village to collect on that money. And that is then culturally, whatever has been need to change. There is 3 weeks is needed on that. Culturally, people also accept. Yes, you come. So that is the subject to this type of something will be come up. Then it will be start the collection will be normal.
And just to add, about 79% of our borrowers, those who have the current loan active running, they have an average balance of about 3,070 rupees in their saving banks. So which is equal to 4 weeks of installment. So we've not yet adjusted. That's the relationship and the commitment and the relationship we have with the customers, that they have also not withdrawing, and as per our moratorium provided to them, we've also not adjusted it against the loan till the lockdown is lifted.
BC, does that answer your question?
Hello.
Sir, does that answer your question?
Okay, I'll probably connect later. Just one final question. Just wanted to know what is the percentage of customers which are unique to Bandhan right now?
So unique to Bandhan is about 50%. Bandhan plus one more loan is put together is 80%.
Thank you and all the best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Arvind Ramakrishnan from HSBC Global Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for taking the question. Mine is just more of a follow-up to the previous one, just trying to understand the restriction on collection. Just to reconfirm, so the reason for the 100% micro moratorium is largely because you have not been physically been able to go and collect those loans. If, for example, lockdown is extended further, or especially in the red zones you're operating in, the lockdown does go on for a bit longer. Are there any other alternative methods or ways you have thought about collecting if you believe that ability of the customer is still there to pay?
What we are seeing here is one way to, at least in the green and the amber zone, is the customer can come to our branch till the things stabilize for a month or two. They can come to our branch and pay. We are also build up the technology-enabled solutions where through UPI network they can pay. We are also building on that. They can pay to our to their loan account. What is also important here is, these customers have cash. It is available in their saving bank balances. What we are wanting these customers, we are waiting them to restart their operations before we start collection, right? Otherwise, since we have 79% of the customers having their balances with us, we could have adjusted their balance and shown it as 80% collection efficiency even for this month. But, we want these customers to restart their operations first. We've always been with them. They've always been loyal to us. So we want that relationship to, work that way.
So just trying to understand, when you say restart operations versus your other point about having around 80% of your exposure in segments that are not affected, how does that correlate? So what percentage of your customers are actually, not working or have no sources of income during the lockdown period? So I'm just trying to correlate between those two statements when you give a figure of around 80% are unaffected by the lockdown versus about a large percentage of your customers are do not have any source of income in this period. How does that tally?
No, if you see that there is I already mentioned some of the points on that. The customer business is essential goods, and this is a basic need of the people. And they are agriculture and allied in a 50%, and food processing is a 20%. So 70% people have the business, which is the people have a need every time on that. Consumer have a need these products every time. So that they are not losing the business. What's happened is that they cannot come to the office to pay, and we cannot reach to them to pay. So that is in one side is a challenge on that. So when the lockdown will open and movement will start, and that time will be easy for us and easy for them to keep this collection on that. And next point is I have been also mentioned on that. And they are 46% of my borrower. They are taking the loan to start other business. So that it is they have the business, they have been started the other business. This type of customer is in 46%. So when these people have started other business, that means they have the alternative income in their hand. So that is the best way to find out on that. They're not only the one business, they have the more than two business in their hand, so that it will be the repayment capacity or repayment not depend on one source of income. If you Sunil, can be add something?
Sir, actually I got dropped off. I just joined back.
Okay. Are you got my answer, or you can to repeat?
So if you can,
sure. So my understanding is that it's largely the restriction on movements is the reason for the moratorium in micros rather than necessarily ability to pay. Is so
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Nitin Agarwal from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, I have a question on affordable housing portfolio. The proportion of moratorium availed there has been quite low. Like 87% customers have paid their dues. So what is the mix between salaried and self-employed amongst those who have paid their dues? And do you see any instances of, say, job losses or salaries not credited there? And any color on loss rates if you can share? Because we tend to get very divergent views on the SMEs and MSMEs and such borrowers at this level.
Mr. Choksi?
Yes, sure. See, this is, as you know, we have most of the customers' mandate of direct payment from their bank account to our bank accounts. So obviously, some of the payments have already come into our bank accounts, and therefore, based on that proportion, you can see that almost 87% of the April installments was received or credited in our account. Okay. As in more and more awareness is being done, the customers have been asking for the moratorium benefit. Few of the customers have also been asking to refund, the payment which directly got credited because of the standing instruction to their bank account. So I think in course of as of today also we see some of the customers asking for the moratorium benefit. So I think we'll have to see by the end of month of May exactly how many customers are asking for the moratorium. So that figure will change in course of time.
Okay. So any color that you will like to share on what sort of loss rates or delinquencies we can see in this portfolio? And of the 87% wherein we have got the ECS debited, so what is the mix of salaried and self-employed?
On my book today, I do not have the breakup of specifically in respect of this 87%. However, the composition of our loan assets between the formal sector and the informal sector is approximately around 45% is formal sector, salaried people, and around 35% is approximately around self-employed people in our total loan assets.
Okay. Fair, sir. Thanks so much.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Nishan Shah from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Could you maybe clarify if in all the green zones where you have about 80% of your AUM, have collections started?
There is though it is a green zone, my staff can be moved to that villages. Because of the socially, the people feel that outside people, if you enter to the village, they may be like to carry something on that in the virus. So for that reason, it is not very easy to do that until the village will be not coming forward to accept it on that. For that reason, we are not yet started in that way to go to the village. But yes, some of the very nearby area people know that my office is there. So we are now reaching to them also. Very small, but not in a percentage wise, we can say that. But some customers are coming to the office. They are also started to repay, but if they are moved. But movement until it will be not open, though it is in green, but movement is not yet open on that.
Okay, perfect. That answers it well. Secondly, you've classified the entirety of affordable housing under the resilient category in one of the slides in your PPT. Could you perhaps maybe Choksi sir could probably talk about what the underlying economic activity is for most of those borrowers over there? You've mentioned about 45% are in the formal sector and the remaining are informal. Could you probably also comment over there as well, because there's a lot of job losses at in the informal and both in the formal segment in the low income categories. So is it really worth or does it really make sense to call all of that affordable housing as resilient. Do you think that there will be some issues in that book? That's the second question.
Let me answer the question both combined together, and I hope it meets with your satisfaction. If you will look at it, our average ticket loan on incremental basis is around 9.5 lakhs. So the average cost of the property would be around 14 to 15 lakhs. On an outstanding loan basis, it would be around 8.6 lakhs average loan. So if you most of our customers pay almost 80 to 85% of the customers have income, less than 50,000 rupees. Large would be less than around 35,000 rupees. Okay. Even though it is a salaried people, or even if they are in a self-employed or they're small business enterprises, whatever they would be having. Okay. So under self-employed, obviously, once the lockdown opens, we will come to know as to what exactly is happening with their activity. Is their business is affected, not affected? Some of the businesses obviously will be affected, and there can be stress because of the almost 2 months lockdown situation. As far as the salaried people are concerned, maybe some of the people who are employed with some of the businesses which were locked up and they were not into the part of the essential services, their salaries also could come under the stress or reduction. Or I think that things will get more clearer once the lockdown gets lifted. People have a chance to meet the borrower and understand each of the scenario. I think we will get a more clearer picture then.
Fair enough, sir. That's a very clear answer. And one last question on NBFCs, your loans to NBFCs. So for our own microfinance book, we have like these higher vintages, we have some bit of deposits collected, and we're a deposit-funded bank. But then do we have the same kind of comfort for some of these NBFCs as well? Because they may not be able to collect any deposits. They may not necessarily have access to kind of liquidity. Sure, we've given them some bit of moratorium, but have their other lenders also given them kind of moratoriums? What percentage of their overall borrowings come from Bandhan itself? So like how substantial is that moratorium going to be? How would you think about some of those questions? And also about the deposits that they have maintained, do we have a lien on those deposits, or are they or are these NBFCs free to withdraw those deposits for their own operating expenses? So that's a question on NBFCs.
So we don't have lien on the NBFCs. So these deposits technically are free as to be withdrawn. But to your point, clearly the way we look at this business, if they have provided moratorium to their customers, it is very logical that they seek moratorium and we provide. Right? We derive comfort from the relationship we had, the behavior of these customers, the loan portfolio till date, and we also have a ground level comfort of this business. Our estimate is that microfinance is one business which should come back strongly. It will be the first industry to come back to normalcy. We don't have an issue of migrant labor that till the labor comes, the factory cannot start. They don't have the issue of overheads running without production. They don't need to seek permissions to start their operations, once the lockdown is lifted. So, and they are in the essential activities. So our belief is this business, microfinance business, will be the first one to come back to normalcy. And given the fact that RBI and government is working on the packages for NBFCs and NBFC MFI, we think they should stabilize over a period of time.
Fair. I have a few more questions. I'll probably come back in the queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Mayank Bukrediwala from Franklin Templeton. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my question. It's a data question, something that you've mentioned in the past also, but only if you could repeat it. Could you just give me a sense of your MFI customer breakdown in terms of how many of them are below 1 to 5 loan cycles, how many of them are between 5 to 10, and how many are more than 10 cycles?
So only loan from Bandhan is about 50%. Bandhan plus one loan takes that number to 80%. Bandhan plus two loans take that number to 94%.
I get that. I was asking from a different perspective as to if you could give me a sense on how many of your customers would be on the 5th loan cycle with you.
Okay, so 54% of our customers are 4th cycle and above.
Okay. Got it. Just one more question. While the lockdown is getting lifted in different parts, there could still be some sort of constraint directly put by the government on group aggregation, or letting a large group of people come together in one place. So, to that extent, if that problem persists for longer, how can the business adapt over a period of time to circumvent that particular issue? As in, how do you start conducting the group meetings and disbursing or collecting, say, 1-2 months from now? Because possibly even group aggregation at that point might not be allowed.
What we are doing now, since we almost 96% of our offices are open, we are connecting with the customer and understanding as to whenever we start the collections, what is the best way they want us to operate these collections. So broadly, there are 3 ways to do it. One is that instead of a 25-member group, we break it into a group of 7 to 8 people, right? Instead of a 1-hour group meeting, at least for next 3 to 6 months, it remains a 20-minute group meeting where only collection happens. Right? That's one way to look at. The other way is that the group members within themselves deposit their money at one place and our staff goes and collects the money from that place. The third option is they come to our branch and pay, or they pay it through UPI or Google Pay, as the case may be. Right? So we are connecting with all the customers and the group to understand which model will suit them and what are they comfortable with. So that's the activity that is currently going on for the last 3 weeks, ever since we have started our office, but not the collection in full form. And we believe that it can't be a straight approach across all groups. The important thing is what groups are comfortable with. That will help them also and us also to restart the collections effectively.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Prakhar Sharma from Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir, and thank you for taking my question. Just have 2 questions. One, from a migration standpoint, you did clarify that you don't have a migration risk per se. But do you think there are, select segments of customers whose, these are ladies, but their husbands might be contractual labor or, self-employed people in smaller towns, and they might have got affected? So, if basically the family income gets affected, do you think there can be an implication on how they look at the debt or servicing? So, any subjective comments will be very helpful. Thank you.
So, there is a 2 factors I say that in here. So, whatever we are lending on that, we are lending the existing business, not in the new business, who are the laborer, not like that. And of course, the last time, when we were in the 2008-9, when the real estate is the business had been very stopped and many of the labor have returned back, and that time we also see that there is no impact has come. But some of the family members, of course, they may be the husband in the other states for going to seasonal work, maybe the harvesting the paddy and that. So that is been happened in our customer husband also, because they are opportunistic. They find out on that time labor cost is wage is very high, so they will get that some advantage. They will be not like to do the rickshaw pulling. In that time, they are going to the labor on that. So this is happening on that. But our advantage is more on that. They have an existing business which is running by wife. And extreme, we find out some cases husband return back, and after that they are not returned back to the again to day labor or wage earner to the other states. They are continue their business with wife and extended this business in a bigger way. So that is we find out from the earlier experience on that.
Got it, sir. Thank you. And second question, sir, would you be able to share, what percentage of customers for whom you would have doubled, let's say, the loan limit in the last 12 months?
Doubled means?
In the sense, the average ticket size, in the sense somebody who was taking, let's say, a 50,000 rupee loan as a part of member of a group, but in the last 12 months, they would have, let's say, moved up to 1 lakh rupees of loan limit. Is that a large number where, there could have been a substantial increase in the ticket size of individual customers, or it's a fairly small portion of your customers where that large increase in loan book or loan values could have happened?
If you see that our borrower customer, who are the borrower of Bandhan Bank, so our advantage is there. Their age group in Bandhan is a very much high, 4 years and above, 4 cycles and above, up to the 20 cycles of the loan. Have the borrower is in 52%, and there is a single loan borrower. There is a 51% single loan only from Bandhan. These people also very high, and another type of borrower which are 31% borrower who have the other loan along with Bandhan, which is amount is a 25 or 30,000 dollars. And Bandhan have the only single loan we are providing on that. In that sense, our loan size is a little bit different from others. So in that sense, if you see that our last year it is in 60,000, this year has come to that 62,000.
So Prakhar, in fact, on the outstanding basis, our loan book has remained flat. It has not grown.
Same.
That is one of the reason why our growth this year has tapered. Right? On a disbursement basis, 60 has become 62. So to answer your question, I don't think there would be a customer where we would have doubled the loan cycle in 1 year.
No.
That's
Average the loan size is the same.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of MB Mahesh from Kotak Securities. Please go.
Good afternoon. Just 3 questions from my side. One is on the question that you had asked, you had given an indication earlier on the fact that there could be a potential increase in disbursements. Is it possible that you would start disclosing some of this data as to how much of customers have asked for an increase over the next 1 or 2 quarters? Because it will help us to understand how you are kind of looking at the portfolio. And this question also pertains at an industry level as well, because when we speak to most MFIs, they seem to be indicating that there's a fair amount of capital which has been used for consumption in the last 1.5 months. So you need to rebuild their capital to restart their business. So just wanted to understand, will we get some color on this? One. Also on the a corresponding situation, if you can give an update on the Assam portfolio for the MFI business. This is question number 1. A question to Mr. Sudhir Choksey, if you could just tell us of your salary segment, how stable is their job profile historically? And if you could also tell us, do they also leverage themselves outside of housing loan? Thanks.
I given that the 1-2 point on that. If you the first question have been also say that there is a loss of the capital. These people have been not yet lost the capital because there's some of the cause on that. If you see the specific, if it is in Bengal, if you say every people have got the free ration in the 20 kg of the rice, they gave that free on that. So that is a big advantage on that. And many of the central government has given the 500 rupees per month. So many of the sources money is coming. So that is the one side, and many people are providing that the 15 days of the fruits. Someone given that 1,000 rupees per family. I hope that the other than they are very much cautious. Their business is running, and then they are also getting this advantage. After all, I have not seen that the large number of customers have been lost to their capital. So that is the one side. But of course, if the business growth will come, maybe they have need the further capital, liquidity, then it will be like the bank will decide. We are ready to give it if it is in cash flow is good and bank their business is running good on that. And I hope that this is a big opportunity just coming on that. And the next point in Assam, the situation up to the February, if you see that there is an up to the March, if you see that there is a collection efficiency have been increases, and which is the total collection efficiency of the bank has come in the March under 98.5%, and other than Assam it is in 99%, and Assam it has come to the 93.6%. So that is the point on that. And
just one question on this. Have you got some clarification from the local government that they are unlikely to interfere?
They are not interfering. They are now asking the help to provide the support to their state people.
Perfect.
That is now is a very different. They are coming now every time.
And just to add, Mahesh, the balances, the deposit balances of these micro banking customers, despite this, close to 7 weeks of lockdown, they have remained strong and stable. We've not seen depletion on the deposit balances of these customers. So this clearly says that, their cash flow as of now is still stable.
Sunil, see the problem with that line of argument, which makes it difficult for us sitting outside, is that you are looking at average numbers, right? In this business where you are talking about the last decile of business, which creates the bulk of the NPL issues, whether it is uniformly spread across the entire set of borrowers, or is it kind of spread quite differently across different sets of customers? That's why it's hard to look at that one data point when we're just looking at average numbers.
That's why Mahesh, if you keep in mind on that, the borrower is women, and women's savings are not disclosed to the man. And they know that if it is man, no, it will immediately they will like to use on that. So very much good reserve on that. And some of the feedback has come from the customer when we call back, and they say that, sir, money with you. Don't worry about it. Whenever need on that, I can give that money also. So that is the confidence level has given good.
Perfect, useful. The question is the housing part.
Mr. Choksi.
Yes. See, as far as our experience shows in respect of the formal sector of the customers whose source of income is salary, I think our experience over the last quite number of years that there is stability has been pretty good, and we have not experienced otherwise any adverse situation except whenever the natural calamity has affected and a set of people or the migrant people. For example, just to share with you, in the time of the earthquake in 2001, we had workers who were working in the diamond processing at a Surat and a Vapi, and when the earthquake took place, post-earthquake, they all had moved out, and there was issues, and it took a little while for them to return back and service their loan. So I think unless and until any situation happens in a group basis, we have not seen otherwise any problem as regards the salaried people of the customers are concerned to their obligations. Now this time the situation is uniquely different. We will have to really see, and I think this will be a new experience for us also as to how the salaried people, if they are getting affected, how they are getting affected, whether there are salary cuts, whether they are losing jobs. I think only after dust settles down of this lockdown, we will know.
And your borrowers would have only housing loan, or are they also leveraged elsewhere?
No, they would have obviously. Now we can't have that. I don't have a borrower who has not taken any other loan. Many of them will have a personal loan or a credit card. Depends on that, because at the time of giving a loan, we also take into account some of their other obligations, and then we accordingly give a relatively smaller loan if that can meet the requirement. So obviously they all will have some kind of loans.
Sorry, and one clarification: does the bank have a product like a top-up loan facility for customers where you can probably re-leverage the borrower to the revised LTV of the product?
We have that product, but we have not yet started on that.
Okay, perfect. Useful, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Dhaval Gada from TSP Investment. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, two questions. One was a clarification to an earlier response. Did I hear it correctly that 80% of your MFI portfolio is in the green zone? Is that correct?
What we are saying here, in the slide, what we are showing is that the 80% of the businesses in which our customers are involved or our borrowers are involved are such that they are resilient to, COVID situation.
Understood. And then if you were to just map this, our MFI portfolio to the government-defined red, green, and orange zone, how would that sort of pan out? Like, how much would be in the green zone?
43% is in the green zone, and another 33% is in the amber zone, and about 23-24% in the red zone.
This is Pan-India MFI portfolio?
Pan-India.
Okay, understood. And the second question was just in terms of, I think partly you answered this earlier, but just I know before COVID as well, we were experimenting with this sort of a mid-size loan, which is like 3 lakh plus kind of ticket size. So how are we now looking at that portfolio, the sort of beyond 1.5 lakh ticket, the 3 lakh ticket kind of portfolio? And do we intend to grow that over the next couple of years? Just some thoughts around that.
There is a good opportunities on that. There is in two types, we are started it in that. And we see that the opportunities is good. We are two way. One is in size is increasing. Another is in number of customer is increasing. Another type of that. Some of the microcredit customer also who are the long time with us and they are the good business, they are also sometimes shifting to SCL loan, and that will be like to future opportunity for the bank.
Sir, if you were to guesstimate today, what percent of the MFI customer can migrate to this SCL kind of loan? If you were to sort of look at the opportunity from our existing pool.
I cannot in that go on that way, but if I say that out of my total 1 crore plus borrower in microcredit, and 7 lakhs borrower we have that who are in the 10 years and above. So if it is at the 10% of my total borrower who are 10 years and above, and they will shift to the individual MSME loan, it is huge. But not maybe the all. But other people also who are more than 4 cycles, and they are also in that the 52% on that. And these are the people to 52 lakhs. It is the 25% of these people are going to there. 10% also going on that the 5 lakhs. So this is huge number in MSME segment. But in the 30% are developing them to system. They are some of the other things should be developed in their income tax return, their trade license, and everything will be like to GST. Then it will be transferred. It is an opportunity big, but it will take some time on that.
So, sir, correct me, but you think 30% of the existing customers can migrate to this product? Is that correct?
It's to come. Yes, they can go.
No, I'm saying more than 30% can migrate to this product. That's what the kind of opportunity is.
That opportunity is there that can go, but the point is there not in a 1 year. No,
Yeah.
it will take some time. Yes. Correct.
Understood. And sir, just lastly on in terms of this product as well, it will be unsecured. Is that correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Kunal Shah from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. So just to clarify, on this Assam portfolio, on 690 odd crores of provisioning, there is no spillover of the provisioning from the last quarter with respect to Assam portfolio.
Yes.
So there is no spillover.
We had taken a 200 crore provision in the last quarter.
Yeah.
Specifically for Assam. Against that, if you see our presentation at the end of Feb, we had close to 3% NPA levels in Assam, which is what we had anticipated when we had taken that provision. So what we have done in March is we have written off this pool of these close to 198 odd crores against the provision we had taken.
Okay. And secondly, in terms of the overall requirement, so as Mr. Ghosh has always been highlighting that the borrowers are risk takers, and increasingly we were seeing the rise in ticket size. But now this sudden disruption, do we see their risk appetite also coming off, and at least maybe per se for the business requirement, the way they have borrowed earlier, maybe that gets shaken a bit. Maybe in the interim, obviously, there will be some, I think, given this kind of liquidity, they will need money. But otherwise, do we see actually the overall demand itself coming up because of this disruption?
Very difficult to say. There will surely be some impact on the demand, but largely if you see the businesses these customers are in, these are livelihood businesses. So from their end customers' point of view, the demand will not be that elastic, right? It will not get so much of impact. And secondly, a lot of these customers
that get completely disrupted. So would then maybe we also be tightening our standards at least in the near term?
So what we look at it here is that, if you look at the growth that, the way the model works, 90% of the borrowers for us are repeat borrowers, right? So, and on an average, these customers are with us for 5 to 6 years. So that understanding of these customers is relatively strong as far as Bandhan is concerned, right? The 10% of the business which comes from the new customers, which we add typically 18 to 20% of the new customers, that part of the business will slow down, surely, right? Because as you said, it takes time to understand the customer. So the business which comes from the newer customer will slow down for next 6 to 9 months till we are in a position to assess that customer. But for the existing customer, where 90% of our business comes, that I don't think should be a challenge, of course, subject to individual assessments.
Sure. And lastly, in terms of expansion plan, given this entire situation, how would that be in terms of either adding on to the branches or maybe adding on to the employees going forward? Because I think this quarter again there was decent addition. So how are we? Is there any moderation out there in terms of the expansion plan?
No, there is no moderation on that. But of course, you know that the first year it will be because of this corona, it will be very conservative on that. See that wait how much will be impact, and in the long run, if you see that the 5 years, But 3 years, we are not seeing that anything will be like to change as per our plan.
Yeah, but there is no break in terms of adding any further branches or maybe adding on to the employees or something of that sort in the near term, or is it there?
So we are not able to give that now, but we will be like to concentrate it more on the more business in the existing branch compared to in the open.
Sure. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Abhishek Madarka from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello. Yes. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Hi. Good evening. Thanks for taking my question. So, couple of questions. One, will it be possible to collect at all without giving fresh disbursements, given some sort of disruption in the cash flow would have happened? And in that respect, would you also look to increase loan limits for your customers in the next, let's say, 3 to 6 months? The second question is on HL and SME. For the 65% or the 87% of the cases which have not yet taken moratorium, what percentage of customers have paid partial EMI? So maybe they've not paid the entire EMI, but they might have paid partially. Would you be able to share that number?
So can you start? I will not get that listening in my I will check.
Yes.
Please.
So to your first question, we have designed a product for COVID-19, which is designed to keep in mind the additional fund requirements for our existing customers. So clearly, this is not a product which will be available for all. It will be based on the assessment and the track record of the customers. So this will only be given to customers who never defaulted even for a single installment without the special approval, which our field officers can give, and of course subject to their assessment as to whether they feel the customer will be able to, the cash flow will be able to support it. So there is a product which we have designed. But the only catch is this loan will be available once they restart their business, right? So we will not be giving this loan till the businesses restart. Once the lockdown is lifted, we see on the ground that the business have restarted, then yes, this product will be offered.
And Sunil, what is the limit of, let's say, what are the loan limits in this product?
The product is a loan limit is depend on, but we see that maybe the 5,000 to 15,000.
Okay. And considering that 90% of your customers are anyway repeat borrowers, most of them would probably be eligible for this product. Is that correct to think?
So yes, most of them will be eligible, but again, the assessment for each of them will be required.
Okay. And in the HL and SME, the other part of the question?
So your question on the home loan side was what proportion of these 87% payments that we've received are received full or partial?
Yeah. So what percent? If you can break it up into what percentage have given full and what have given partial?
So to be honest, I don't have that number readily available with me. But to the best of my knowledge, 96%, 97% of these customers would have paid full installments.
Okay.
But I will still confirm that separately with you because I don't have that number ready right away.
Sure. And any breakup you can share for the mortgage book? Any further breakup into affordable housing, LAP, anything?
No, breakup into what would you require?
So the 18,500, if you could break up into LAP and affordable housing?
I think the LAP would be, around sub 9%. And just a minute, I'll see if I can get you. I think it would be around 9% to 10%. It may not be more than 10% on a.
9%, sir.
Huh?
9%.
Yeah, 9%. And developer portfolio would be sub 4, so around 4%. Rest all would be housing.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Very helpful. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Jai Mundra from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Most of the questions have been answered. Just a clarification and a small question. One in one of the in the green zone, you still have not been able to start collection. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Because the commentary from some of the other MFI players suggests that they have started collection and the business in the select green zone. So just wanted to double check that.
So, what's happened and what we feel about it? Collection means we cannot be reached to the village, and the customer cannot come to the office. That is in one situation. Some situation where customer is a very nearby office, they are coming to office and paying the installment. And they started to see that how we can go to reach some of the group areas where the social people are accepted easily or they are created barrier. There is a need of some time on that to lockdown open. And also these people are accept that our staff will be go that village and they are not given that the struggle. So that is the situation now. So that yes, some of the few areas maybe they are trying to go, but it is very small, not in a mentionable amount.
Sure, sir. And second question is just, sir, on pricing. So let's say if next year the disbursement, let us say hypothetically are lower, there the efficiency in terms of you are more conscious. So do you think there is a scope for increasing prices of the MFI book? Yeah.
It will depend on lot of things on that. So this is not the right time the month to say on that. Many things can be like to decide. It's give the chance on that with a couple of more days where the lockdown will be open and situation will come on the basis of that. Because if lockdown will be open this month, it's a one situation. If it is in June, there is a different situation. If it is in July, I can be fully on the operation. That may be the scenario different. So that is a long time it will be like to take the decision. But I have not feel that it will be the cross the financial year with a low growth rate.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Akash Batani from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, sir, and thank you for taking my questions. My first question is on the portion of your loans to NBFC MFIs where you have not granted a moratorium. So, what would be the reason, as in either these NBFCs have not approached you or you have declined? Could you sort of delve into that further, please?
They have paid their installment.
Okay, so they have not opted essentially.
Yes.
Okay. And so, in terms of your field operations, do most of your field officers reside within the vicinity of the doorstep service center?
So they stay in the doorstep service center. It's a residential model.
Right. But assuming what is there a significant portion out there who would say not be staying within that area and would have wanted to go back once during this entire crisis to their hometown?
So they had a few people who wanted to go. They have gone and they have returned as well.
Okay.
we are restarting.
And lastly, what would be the impact of the standstill classification in terms of if you could say quantified in terms of basis points on NPA on your GNPA for the quarter?
If you can please reframe that question. The lockdown impact will come in the next quarter. In what sense that it could have impacted this quarter? I could not understand the question actually.
So certain accounts that say would have slipped but have not slipped because the moratorium was offered.
Yeah, so that at a bank level would have been about 20 to 25 basis points.
Okay, that's it from my end. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Nishan Shah from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the follow-up. Just two quick questions. First, sorry, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. Sorry. So, just one quick question. There was a newspaper article today about RBI working around something related to the holdco structure. Now, it's not exactly clear whether it's a complete collapse of the three-layer structure or a collapse of the three-layer into the two-layer. But assuming it is a complete collapse, right? A complete collapse, like you can just have one single entity doing lending. Are you conceptually okay to forego any future interest in any sort of parabanking activities? Because that structure apparently does not allow you to hold any insurance or any other non-lending businesses. So conceptually, are you fine with that, or would you like to, have that optionality, preserve that optionality, and look to bring down the promoter stake some other way? That's question one.
We'll be fine. And in fact, we would prefer that if that happens. That is what we've been requesting.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. That answers it well. And second question, regarding TLTRO2, I think you guys are well positioned to actually go out and participate in that, because you can actually go and identify those NBFCs in the smaller segment. So have you participated? If yes, would you be able to quantify to what extent have you participated in TLTRO2?
So we had participated in TLTRO2, but since it was the new concept, how does it work? So we had restricted it to about 500 crores.
Okay, fair. And one clarification as regards the green zones. So, if I understand correctly, there are no travel restrictions or anything, right, in the green zones?
There are. Lockdown is across.
Right, but then because you're a bank structure, wouldn't your collection activities be classified under essential services and therefore be allowed under whatever the government permits?
So yes, we come under the essential services, so we can do our activities. But for our customers, for them to come out of the house and gather at a place, that becomes a challenge. So till the lockdown is lifted, the free movement for our customers is more difficult than for us as a banker.
Okay, right, because okay, fair enough. I guess gathering would be the issue. Fair enough, yes, that's it from me.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Hemant Patel from Alder Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Just had one question on the collection model. I'm just trying to understand this, that when a lending officer currently services a collection group of around 15 people, and you mentioned that as one of the options is that he would go around and post-lockdown, maybe when time is right, start collecting from a group of 7 or 8 people. Wouldn't that actually increase his time to actually go and meet these groups? Because if I remember right, there are certain limitations as to how much he can travel and how many groups he can actually go to. So in that case, will we be thinking about increasing the employee base in a significant manner, or maybe change the collection model from maybe a weekly to a fortnightly?
No, we would like to continue on that weekly. The first point. Second point on that, if you see, the group meeting organized and sitting the village not maybe happened some couple of months. So that time, there is some pocket will be like to make. Maybe the one group is in 20 women. 20 women, maybe the 5 different groups. And not groups means that some of the borrowers' house, they will collect it and keep it in here. My staff only go there and give the receipt and taking that money. This is maybe the one way for the temporarily we like to handle on this situation on that. And sometimes what's happened after few of the weeks, then people also accepted it is in way on that, and then it will be normalized on this.
Okay. And I'm taking it from this that we are not planning to actually increase the employee base to focus more on collection. Would that be right?
Not required on that because borrowers are too mature. They know that everything. Sometimes the borrower also collecting and coming to the office return back. That is also many times we've seen that some of the incident there. So it will be a different way on the basis of situation.
And I had a basic question. In a typical joint lending liability model, I believe that we have moved away from it to a certain extent that if in a group of 15 or 20, if you have one or two of your borrowers to default, their liability completely rests on them and doesn't go on to the remaining part of the group. Is that right?
No, we are not practicing in this way. We feeling that the joint liability group means in our model the moral responsibilities to collect the money from others, but not essentially compulsorily group will be repay on behalf of that borrower. So we see that if this type of practice happens by force, then my good borrower will be left us and go to others because he is penalized. So for that reason, from beginning, we are not practicing in that model.
Okay, sir. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference back to the management for their closing comments. Over to you all.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking out time and for this call. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.